Thank you, councillors, and welcome to our monthly meeting for May. Prior to commencing, I'll hand over to the General Manager to read the conditions of the live broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The meeting is being live streamed and or recorded for on-demand viewing via Council's website. Attendance at the meeting is to be taken as consent by a person to their image and or voice being webcast. All speakers should refrain from making any defamatory comments or releasing personal information about another individual without their consent. Council accepts no liability for any damage that may result from the defamatory comments made by persons attending meetings. All liability will rest with the individual who made the comments. The meeting must not be recorded by others without prior written consent of the Council in accordance with the Council's Code of Meeting Practice. Councillors and staff are obligated to declare conflicts of interest as required under the Local Government Act 1993 and Council's adopted Code of Meeting Conduct. Councillors are reminded of their oath of office whereby they have declared and affirmed that they will undertake the duties of the office of the councillor in the best interests of the people of Wentworth Shire and the Wentworth Shire Council, and that they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I'll now ask you to be upstanding for the acknowledgement of the country and the prayer. I would like to pay my respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. We are thankful for the privilege of serving. May we always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. Amen. Thank you. Okay, moving on. So apologies, we do have two this evening from Councillors Hayward and Councillor McAllister. Can I do the leave of absence with it? And leave of absence, Councillor Cooper.
Yes, from the 4th of June to the 28th of June, out of the country.
Thank you. Similarly for myself, from the 16th of July to the 11th of August. Moved Councillor Nichols, seconded Councillor Linklater. All in favour? All in favour? Councillor Crisp and Cooper, thank you. Disclosures of interest. Councillor Beaumont. Thank you. Any others? Councillor Cooper.
I'd just like to acknowledge our pecuniary interest in section 9.13, I think it is. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Linklater.
Thank you. I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary and insignificant interest in item 12.1.
Thank you. And I have a significant pecuniary interest in item 9.13. So they're all noted. I'll call for a mover and a seconder on those. Thank you. Councillor Rodder, Councillor Beaumont. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay, confirmation of the previous minutes from our meeting on the 19th of April. Move Councillor Rodder, seconded Councillor Crisp. Any discussion? Councillor Nichols.
I need to tender an apology for the AV tour. I said I was going to that and I went to a funeral instead, so
Okay.
so it be noted, please. I'd accepted earlier.
Thank you, and duly noted. Councillor Beaumont,
Yes, at the April meeting.
could you use your microphone, please?
At the April meeting, I requested that the dog waste stations be included into the outstanding action items report for future meetings. If that could be added in, please.
Okay, thank you.
Just in relation to that, we did have the discussion on relation to that, and the Director of Health and Planning will do a separate report in terms of cost-benefit analysis and a location and a bit of a study on it and report back to council.
Councillor Rodder,
So 8.12 child safe changes to be presented at the May meetings. The Audit and Risk Committee suggested the recent child safe changes be reviewed in regard to staff. So from the minutes, that was actually tabled with that committee back in October 2020, February. So that was February and it's now May, taken a little while to get through. And the other one was in regards to the child protection policy. So that still hasn't come to council.
That's the one that's up tonight, the child safe.
Right,
it's in the minutes now
right.
for tonight.
Okay.
For tonight.
So,
yeah.
so the discussion previously around that was to come to council prior to going to the Audit and Risk Committee, which brings about one of the issues that was discussed at the last meeting. So the Audit and Risk Committee meeting schedule has them meeting before us. So the way that that I perceive that the Audit and Risk Committee should work is they should provide oversight into decisions that we've made, not be providing recommendations for us for decisions to be made.
It goes both ways. They're also an advisory committee where they do potentially make recommendations to council. Council doesn't have to endorse those recommendations.
While their schedule remains as it is with them meeting prior to us, then they're going to be coming to us with recommendations, and I think it needs to be the other way around.
Noted. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions out of the minutes of the last meeting? Okay, all in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay, item 6.1 is the outstanding actions item report. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Rodder. Any discussion? All in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay, item 7.1 is the mayoral report. I'll move that. Seconder, please. Councillor Linklater. Any discussion? Councillor Nichols.
The meeting on the 18th of April, Bakinji Native Title Group meeting, I've seen in places now where it's called Bakinji Marora. Is that part of their, are they combined there? I'm just wondering if we've left the Marora part out.
No?
No, Native Title, Barkindji Native Title Group represents those other groups as part of the Native Title determination, so, yep. For which Marora and other groups were, I think there was 8 or 10 in the determination.
Yeah. Councillor Rodder. Do you have a query?
Yeah, so in regards to the mayoral report and the general manager's one, so one of the things that I've consistently noticed is there's a gap. So in the reporting of who's been where and what's coming up because of the delay between when the agenda is published. So from last week to today, there's always a shortfall there on information. Would it be possible to kind of include that information even in the agenda, even though it actually hasn't happened yet? There's always a week delay, and it's not until the following month that then those other activities are reported on, and they're not always reported because, say for example, I would attend the user group meeting if that was to be held on Tuesday of this week, for example. that wouldn't be included.
Wouldn't be in tonight's meeting, yeah.
Yes.
Comment?
So you're asking for the projected meetings, participation in the projected meetings from when we close off until today to be included as part of this?
Yeah.
You know, our diaries are pretty stacked. It's not a big ask, I don't think. Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favour? Carried. Sorry.
The next point.
Oh, sorry.
From committees, I'll get ready.
Oh, right. Okay, reports from committees is item 8. It says nil. Thank you,
If I-
councillor Rotter.
If I may, Mr Mayor. So
Certainly.
obviously, councillors are given a number of different opportunities to represent council on external committees to council. So one of the things that I have been thinking about, you, for example, went to the George Gordon user group. That information, if the councillor doesn't actually present that information to councillors at a meeting, we don't have any idea. Would it be possible for, say, the minutes of those meetings to be circulated to all councillors? And, for example, for the minutes of the Carramar Drive users group to be circulated to all councillors. The minutes of the
The minutes of all those committees normally come in a council report, but there's probably no worries in terms of flicking an email around, I wouldn't think.
whereabouts in this, would it be reported, the Carramar Drive user group situation that
When was the meeting? Last
last week?
It was probably
Right.
after the close off, so.
No, it was prior to, but my point is that I don't hear any information unless it's mentioned in chambers about discussions at George
Yeah, okay.
Gordon or Pooncarie or,
Any problem with that?
people don't. No, they're not. So, I mean, we already do a lot of reading, I know, but
Yep.
I think it would be useful for those committees external to council, that council are representing,
That all councillors know.
all councillors
Yep.
have a copy, the opportunity at least to have a copy. So I'd like to see the Australian Inland Botanic Gardens minutes, for example, circulated so all councillors can have a look. I mean, I don't do a presentation to council on what
Okay.
goes on in those meetings. So that's just my thoughts. And, you know, I'm keen to hear about what the George Gordon user group's talking about and what other user groups are talking about without actually having to physically be there. And the shortfall in the meeting schedule would be why the Pooncarie user group is actually not reflected in here. And so be useful to have a copy of those minutes.
Okay. All right, councillor Beaumont?
I just wonder whether minutes from those user group meetings perhaps could be circulated by email as they occur, rather than be included into the ordinary meeting agenda, because this is often 600, 700, 800 pages as it is, and to be adding in user group meeting minutes as well is just going to further add to the burden, in the few days leading up to an ordinary meeting.
So
I agree that it'd be good to know what's happening. at each
Just to
of those.
clarify, councillor Beaumont, I wasn't suggesting they be included in the papers, but they be circulated via email, so I should have been more.
Yeah, I thought you did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And that's okay, staff, can be done?
That's a good outcome for us. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any others?
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, we better have a motion for that. Thank you, councillor Rotter. Moved councillor Rotter, seconded councillor Cooper. All in favour? Carried. 9.1 is the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee Chairperson. There's a recommendation there. Can I have a mover? Councillor Chris, seconded councillor Beaumont. Any discussion? All in favour? Those against?
Too quick for me, Mr Mayor, although I was actually formulating
You vote against it? Okay, so that's everyone for, bar councillor Rodder, who is against. Item 9.2 is the General Manager's Report. Recommendation there that council receives and notes the information and move it, please. Councillor Linklater, Councillor Cooper, and seconder. Any discussion out of there? Councillor Nichols.
Just a quick question to the General Manager. The last time I asked, has there been anything resolved along those lines? And I was told they had 60 days to come forward. So in those, it's now 60 days, have we had an abundance of people paying their rates, or are we moving forward with the legal action we're going to do?
Combination of both, Councillor Nichols. So we started out with 12 and now there's 10 remaining on the list. One's an estate or a probate listed one, so it drops off the list, and another one has been paid. Another one sought mediation, but that's probably not the case to further that. So auction on the 21st of June at the Midway Centre at approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, ran by elders on our behalf for the selling of the remainder of the properties.
They'll all be advertised in the local paper for people to have the opportunity to see?
They've all been advertised.
They already have, so yeah.
Okay, anything else? All in favour? Carried unanimously. 9.3 is the Murray-Darling Association Region 4 nominations, and council, as you probably recall, that we did this last meeting. And Councillor Hayward accepted the nominee. He since had a change of view for his reasons. So, as we discussed, we need to nominate a delegate for the position on the executive committee. Generally speaking, I think the minimum number was 2 and a maximum of 6. And that includes Broken Hill, Wentworth, Central Darling, Balranald and Mildura. So we've just got to do that process again. So is there any nominees? I'm quite happy to take the role on. I've been part of it since 2016 or 17, so.
I nominate Councillor Elstone.
Seconded Councillor Crisp. All in favour? Carried. And there's also part 2 there that determines if we nominate a preferred delegate, but I think that refers to our council.
That's for the chair.
For the chair, yes.
You don't want to be chair, do you?
No, I don't want to be chair. No, so as discussed last meeting, Mildura's turn is in the chair, so. All right, that clarifies that one. 9.4 is the monthly finance report. A recommendation there. Move it, please. Councillor Rodder, second by Councillor Beaumont. Any discussion? Just put your microphone on, thanks, Councillor Nichols.
There is one loan in there that I don't think has a figure on, and I might be misreading this. It's a loan, National Willow Bend. Is there a figure to be going there, perhaps? That's the 1, 2, 3, fourth from the bottom.
Yeah, it says 1.5 million. It's 2 lines, sorry. It's written over 2 lines, so it says National Australia Bank, and the purpose is Willow Bend Caravan Park underneath it.
Are you saying that's answered? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I suppose that's right, Simon, is it? Yep. That's how I read it, yeah. Any other questions? All in favour? Carried. 1.5 is the monthly investment report. A mover and a seconder, please. Move Councillor Rodder, seconded Councillor Cooper. Any discussion? All in favour? Carried. 9.6 is the monthly quarter budget review, third quarter of 22-23. There's a recommendation there. Have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Nichols, Councillor Rodder. Open for discussion. Councillor Rodder.
The purpose of this report is to provide the audit committee.
Can you just switch your microphone on, thanks?
The purpose of this report is to provide the Audit Committee and Council with information on the 2022-23. And I know I'm going to be harping on this point, but I think Council needs to come before the Audit and Risk Committee.
And that was an error on, because I've copied the report from what was in the Audit Committee one, so I should have taken that out and I should have just said the purpose of this is for the council, so.
That's not the internal Audit and Risk Committee, Brian, that hasn't been started yet. So when Councillor McAllister's back on deck, I'm sure that that was one of the items of discussion that I had for tonight. But being that she's not available tonight, hopefully next month.
Okay, any others? All in favour? Carried. 1.7 is request for financial assistance. Detail there. Hang on, we'll just get a mover and a seconder first. Councillor Rodder and Linklater. Now, go, Councillor Nichols.
The request from the undenominational Christians, are they the ones that were working out of Cadell Street? Have they shifted camp or what? Because there's a heap of Christian people down there that we're working.
No, I think they're a different mob. Yep, yeah, different group.
Any other discussion?
Are we anticipating that $19,500 will be subscribed between now and the end of the financial year?
Well, I guess
Unlikely, because this is the last round between now and then. So unless there's a whole run of applications for fee waivers for hall hires and things like that from groups over the next 6 weeks or so, I'm not anticipating that $19,000 would be taken up.
I think we actually added that 20-odd thousand to it, didn't
We added 30,000.
we? Yeah. Councillor Nichols?
Yeah, just one of these. Has this request been made after the event has been held? Or should they be made prior to?
No, it can be made afterwards, and then all we do is then give them a reimbursement
Okay.
following the event.
Okay, thank you.
Right, any other discussion on that one? Okay. Okay. Question?
Mr Mayor, I think it might be, since I've declared an interest in the other item relating to a fee waiver, I think it might be best if I withdraw my seconding of this motion and somebody else seconds, please.
Okay. So Councillor Linklater is no longer the seconder and Councillor Chris replaces him. Okay. All right, those in favour? Carried. Wait for Councillor Beaumont to return.
Just in regards to that financial assistance amount for the for next year's budget, are we able to get information on what fees and grants we've awarded this year to give us a basis for what may need to be the balance of that budget line for next year's
For
budget?
next year, yeah, well, I'm sure we would have that.
So I've put a nominal budget in as $200,000 at this particular point in time, with what we already pre-approved through the budget process, and everything that we've pre-approved up until now. The total that we will have allocated up to this financial year would be about $172,000, rounded up to the nearest,
That's all up.
all up.
And about the first 100 of that is normally.
Yep.
Would it be possible to have an actual report on that, Simon?
Mm-hmm.
Please?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. 9.8 is the quarterly operational plan progress report. Have a recommendation there that we note the report. Councillor Beaumont, Councillor Crisp. Any discussion? Had quite a bit of discussion in the briefing. Any other on it? All in favour? Carried. 9.9 is the draft 23-24 operational plan, where we're being asked to endorse it for a public exhibition. So there's a recommendation there. Mover, please, Councillor Crisp, second to Councillor Cooper. Any discussion? Councillor Nichols.
As spoken before, I query the fact that we're looking to increase wastewater access charges by 3.7%, to increase raw and filtered water access charges by 3.7%, and to increase water consumption charges by 3.7%, and also to increase domestic water charges. I believe in the times that we're currently situated at that I believe that we should come in at a lower figure, whether it be 2.5. We don't have to go by the recommendation. I have no problem with the rating part of it, but the water fees, we are not poor as far as water concerns are held, and I just have a problem with that and would like to perhaps, I'd like to move a motion that the water figures in that part of the recommendation be adjusted to 2.50%. See if I can get.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? I'd say there's no seconder, so the motion lapses, the amendment lapses. So the recommendation stands as it is. All in favour? Carried. Geez, where am I going? Okay, 9.10 is the determination of the councillor remuneration for 23-24 year. And obviously the recommendation is council sets the level of fees to be paid to councillors and the mayor in accordance with the schedule of fees determined by the Local Government Remuneration Tribunal. So we have that there in front of us. Can I have a mover and a seconder to adopt? Councillor Rodder and Councillor Cooper. Open for discussion. Councillor Linklater.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that we adopt the figure for a councillor of $13,030 and that we adopt the additional payment for the mayor of $28,430.
Okay, we have a seconder for that. Councillor Cooper. All in favour? Carried. And 9.11 or 9.11 is the child safety policy. Recommendation there. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Crisp, seconder. Councillor Beaumont. Any discussion? Councillor Rodder. Microphone, thanks.
So the page 316 of the child safety policy mentions that a child safety officer to be a designated council employee who assesses reportable allegations. Can you confirm who that person is?
The general manager.
So is there a, somewhere in there so that if the complaint is made against the general manager, who then would handle that complaint?
Would normally
Mayor.
come to the mayor. Any other discussion? All in favour? Anyone against?
I'm not against, I'm for, sorry.
Okay, carried unanimously. 9.12 is a conflict of interest management policy for council-related development. There's a recommendation there that we endorse that policy. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Crisp, Councillor Cooper. Any discussion? All in favour? Carried unanimously. 9.13, I'll vacate the chair and hand over to the Deputy Mayor to deal with it as I've declared a pecuniary interest. Thank you, Councillor Linklater.
No, wait on.
And follow.
New dwelling for lot 2312, yeah. 9.13, yeah. Sorry, the numbering got thrown out. Yep.
Thank you. Good evening, councillors and council officers. Item 9.13, we have a recommendation in front of us that council approve DA 2023/033 being for a new dwelling with a storage shed and carport, an additional storage shed with wet area and removal of existing dwelling located at 163 Pooncarey Road. Could I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Crisp. Councillor Beaumont. Open for discussion. No discussion. Those in favour? Yes, Councillor Beaumont. Sorry?
Oh, look, this is yet another one of these DAs that is very tricky in terms of river frontage and meeting minimum standard of 30 metres from the high bank. My only question would be to the Director of Health and Planning, this building will be obviously built above the 56 flood level. So having a minimum, having only 3 metres setback from the high bank, would one be right to assume that, as in the most recent flood, water would be getting up to within a matter of, 3, 4, 5 metres of the proposed dwelling?
That would be correct. Excuse me. However, given the fact that they'll be building above the 1 in 100 flood level, there'd be more than enough safety precautions. And this is one of those ones where it underwent significant interagency referrals and assessments and things like that. So agencies like the SES and others were satisfied with these sorts of developments when it was first proposed.
Councillor Nichols.
I wasn't going to say anything, however, I did ask the Director of Planning a similar question because previously, in 2 previous councils, we've had 4 come up and they have to come to council because the directors can't do an assessment because we're voting against legislation. However, in this case, there has been no flooding on that land during the past high river, so therefore I think we're fighting a losing battle.
Thank you, councillor. Did you want a response?
I've still responded. I asked before. Yes,
Thank you. Okay, I'll put it to the vote again. Those in favour? Okay, that is carried. Call for a division, please. Those in favour? That is also carried. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 9.14 is another DA for a two-storey dwelling with garage at 10A Carboni Court. There's a recommendation there. The council approves the matter. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Move councillor Rodder, seconded councillor Cooper. Any discussion?
Mr Mayor, can I just ask for clarification, please, on page 366, description of proposal, third paragraph refers to the request wishes to build an alfresco area and swimming pool within the riverside of the established riverfront building line. The alfresco area will extend past the building line by 2.16 metres and the swimming pool by 6.985 metres. Then the next paragraph on page 367 refers to applicant requesting plans and specifications for the proposed swimming pool and safety barrier. The applicant has advised that these structures will not be part of this application moving forward and provide consent for council to amend details of the application. So can I just have a clarification, please, as to whether the swimming pool is or is not included in the development application?
Yep, thank you, Councillor Beaumont. So when I spoke with the applicant of this DA, it would have been on Monday of this week. He wanted clarity, he wanted the pool to be included in the, as part of this assessment and this, and your review. I explained to him that due to the fact that the reports had almost been finalised, that there wasn't a lot of wiggle room to make any amendments to the report. So he expressed verbally to me over the phone that he did wish for the pool to be included as part of his approval. Did want, yes.
You did. So, councillors,
So that paragraph at the top of page 367 is not relevant, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct, it's not relevant.
Right. So that probably changes somewhat the, potentially the, my view in relation to the application. Or could it?
well, as it's,
Really, we're asking for approval of the development, the building and including the pool, to exceed or to go inside the riverfront building line by, what, 7 metres?
Approximately, yes.
so it's reducing it from 32 metres back to about 25 in
Correct.
round figures. Okay.
So to clarify that point, I guess, a swimming pool isn't a part of the building line of development, essentially, because the building line refers to the, I guess, the brick and mortar and where the buildings and how they line up and how they look aesthetically from whatever viewpoint. While the swimming pool is a development and it does encroach past the building line, the variation, the variation would still need to be considered on that part, because, and get that in principle of agreement from council if you're so inclined, just so that there's a level of assurance that we're satisfied with that going past the building line as stipulated.
My question would be back to you. If you're satisfied, I don't see a reason why council wouldn't be. This is not the first one of these we've seen in relation to pools. Remember one at Ball Creek a couple of years ago?
No, we've actually approved a number of these over the years that I've been here that have gone past the building lines, or they've gone within certain meters of the riverfront, so it's a non-issue.
Yeah. All right, any other discussion? All in favour? Carried unanimously. Where am I going to? Oh, and sorry, a division. Everyone is for. Okay, 9.15 is the delegated authority approvals as at the end of April. Recommendation there. Mover, please. Councillor Nichols, Councillor Beaumont. Any discussion, Councillor Nichols?
Yes, please, just a comment. And I think it's just Heaney, are they a local group, or are they somebody that's coming in? You see they've got a couple of
Where are you? What page?
I'm on page 399, and the second one on is Engineering and Architectural Services Limited for workshop and so on and so forth. And then down the bottom, the same thing again. York Drive, it's another storage shed. So are they a local group of people, or
Located at Golgol.
are they? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Business centre division.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions out of that? All in favour? Carried. 9.16 is a project and works update, a recommendation there. Move Councillor Rodder, seconded Councillor Linklater. Any? Oh. Good pick up. Thank you. Apologies. 915, a division. Unanimous, everyone. Keep forgetting their planning matters. Okay, 9.16 is the project and works update. There's a recommendation there. Councillor Rodder, Councillor Linklater, seconded. Any discussion? Councillor Crisp.
Yes, I'd like...
Microphone, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like an update from the Director regarding the trees and shrubs on the east side of Dearden. It's been reported that a number of deaths and ill health is there, and quite a number of the community would like to get an update on what's proposed to improve that. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you, Councillor. Our Parks Department are aware of the issues with various varieties of the plantings at that particular area. I think there's a number of different varieties and species along there, one of which has been identified that seems to struggle within the soil type or the area. We've had an assessment on the irrigation and that's all okay. And a decision's been made to source more of the other two varieties that seem to be thriving in that particular area. The dying plants and dead plants will be removed and replanted in the coming month with the new variety.
Thank you, Director Gunn.
Councillor Nichols.
Thank you very much. I would assume that all the things that need to be replaced and so on and so forth are, and looking at the toilets for the golf club and so on and so forth, will be covered under insurance?
I think it would be either and or flood recovery funding.
Yeah, most of that stuff we're trying to get through flood recovery funding, only because the excess for flooding on our insurance is about $250,000, and we won't have, amongst the buildings that have been impacted, the damage will be significantly less than $250,000, so we won't be able to make a claim against our insurance.
I did notice somewhere that we were only about, we had a figure of, we were looking at it, something just over $1 million, and I know when we attended the meeting at Mildura, or in the paper, they said they had $50 million worth of damage, so I'm just sort of thinking whether we're,
We'd have a lot more than 1 million if you start with all the roads and that.
yeah, but this
Substantially
was the bits and pieces not covered.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Councillor Rudder?
Wanting to see that there's been 2 generators stolen from the Wentworth and Danton landfills. Have we got any security and cameras in those areas?
No security cameras in those areas. The generators were locked up and actually in a locked security cage. Obviously, that was not enough of a deterrent. And I think the operational group have, in light of those thefts and the difficulty in the security at each of those sites, they are opting for a mobile solution which will be incorporated into the vehicles that will attend that site, so that will be there whenever that's in attendance. So I think they're going to go for a bit of a change.
Thank you. Now, just in regards to the Baronga toilet block, consultation of electrical and sewage components undertaken, have we actually decided on a location for that?
I think that one is referring to the toilet block down at the park at the
Yeah.
riverfront area.
Okay. All right. Painting and small repair works being conducted in Wynn Warden's accommodation. So is there a typo there, or what exactly is being done? Page 405 at the Wentworth Jail, which is spelt with a G in New South Wales, actually. So what's actually being done?
I think you just take Win out, don't you?
Right. I was trying to work out whereabouts that was in there.
Okay, Mr Mayor, sorry. Is it possible for us to put some sort of rather large tagging on things that might get removed by people who are less honest than what we are? If it had great big Wentworth Shire Council emblazed in with some sort of drill or stuff, I know they could probably take it off, but it might stop them perhaps from
Probably
being
get it
so
off. but-
short-fingered.
At some point in time, years ago, we actually went the opposite. We actually had something which was unseen, for which we had do you remember that? Basically, it was invisible.
Tracker or something.
Yeah, and then we knew where it was on the implement or item, and we used to use that as a solution. So I guess it's that twofold story. You either make it big and bold and try and deter them, or it's small and you can't see it and track it down later.
I mean, it's sad because it's obviously once they'd pinched one from one place, they went to the other one thinking we'll have another.
Buy none and get two free.
Disappointing.
What value was in those pumps?
About 1,800 each, I think.
Just got Councillor Beaumont first.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Could I have some comment or feedback, please, in relation to the Willow Bend Caravan Park? I walk along that levee bank most days. I'm concerned that there appears to be long periods of downtime and inaction. I know there was pipes, drainage pipes delivered, 2-3 weeks ago, but I haven't seen any activity in terms of work undertaken down there for probably best part of a month, if not more. Can we have some assurance that the caravan park is going to be completed and opened in October, as has previously been stated?
Christmas has been the statement, as far as I'm aware. Open for Christmas trading, and we're still trying to adhere to that. Contractors were meant to be back on site about now. Ill health has delayed that until next week. On both sides of the equation, with the contractor and with our project engineer being unwell, and the set out for the main deep drain to come in at this end is where they'll start. So I'm hopeful that it'll be all up and going on Monday to progress that.
I would imagine that once the park is completed, there would need to be a period of time for consolidation of lawns and that sort of thing before they have, it has traffic over it. So we'd really need to be looking at completing that project well before Christmas, I'd suggest.
Completion and open for operation, so it's tin tacks, yes, we will be taking bookings for Christmas, the finalisation of the work, landscaping and whatever else. You'd like to have it done in just after spring, so you get a bit of growth in the grass.
Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Rodder?
Just on the October comment that Councillor Beaumont made, I believe in these papers somewhere I too read October.
Take it on notice.
Okay, can we get back to you on that one? I just have a question, I don't know if I'm reading it wrong. Oh, sorry, Councillor Linklater, away you go.
No, go ahead.
Just on that Arumpo Road, Director Gunn, the gravel pits have been reinstated and paperwork to be submitted to get the relevant licences revoked. Why would we be revoking gravel pit licences?
Yes, I think that's incorrect. It's just the reinstatement of...
I do recall a discussion of about 20 grand a pit to get them open. I don't know why you'd want to revoke.
No, just pick up. That's,
Okay.
just the reinstatement has been undertaken on those.
Righto.
Pits and the project's obviously been sealed.
I can change revoke to reinstated. Thank you. Councillor Linklater.
Thank you. Just got a query for Director Gunn. Firstly, the shared paths in Wood Street and North Golgol Road, I think, were very enthusiastically received by the country fair, the people that attended the country fair and saw the council display. So that's very exciting news. Regarding Pink Lake, it's good to see that the design works are progressing there. Just a query on whether the land tenure issues are also progressing that you know of.
I'll have to take that on notice. I had obviously I was away for one of those weeks. The staff that was following up on that, as the General Manager's alluded, has been unwell for the last 2 weeks. I think he was back yesterday, so I will follow up on that and provide you an update.
Yeah, sorry, I probably should have put that in the other section for questions on notice. Thank you.
Thank you, but it's good to see Pink Lake's looking like it might get somewhere after a long time. Councillor Rodder?
One more question, if I may, Mr Mayor. So Ball Creek Road works are underway to repair that. River Road, that work is being undertaken, and I understand that road is being closed. Can you confirm when the road is being closed, please?
Tomorrow.
The road is closed as of today. Work has already commenced on River Road on the reconstruction of the 3.5 kilometres of River Road. Boyle Creek Road and access from Amaroo through Amaroo is limited. Boyle Creek Road is at the moment is the preferred access for the residents in there, and then that will change in about 4 or 5 weeks' time when works progress through to the Boyle Creek Road section. So cartage of material is currently happening on River Road, and stabilisation works will commence next week. And so the road's closed for all traffic except for emergency services access.
Do we have any idea how long those works will take?
The works is set down for completion it's about 5 weeks' time, weather permitting.
Okay, again, that's very good news because we were discussing a June start on that, so we're a couple of weeks ahead of it. It's terrific. Rightio, anything else out of that? All in favour? Carried. Okay, item 10, notices of motions, questions with notice. I'll start in the middle tonight. Councillor Crisp.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I attended, along with Councillors Nichols and Beaumont, the Light State presentation that was held in Mildura. An interesting project, and one I think that we will see develop over the next year. I'd also note the Anzac service at Dearton attracted around 200 attendees, one of which was the General Manager, and thank you for coming along and taking the questions that inevitably follow your public appearances. I have given some thought to the Fletchers Creek options as a General Manager, an ad hoc committee, an ad hoc Fletchers Creek Options Committee be a satisfactory name for a group that we can put together, or I'll be happy to take advice on another name so I can get that underway.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure the General Manager will concur with your name or come up with one. Councillor Cooper.
I'm just approached by a local people, just in a query with the water tanks down the end of Arthur Street, is it? Our water tanks. They suggest that that would be a fantastic and an added attraction to have a murals done on those tanks.
We've had numerous discussion about these over many years.
Yep.
And we seem to get conflicting feedback every time.
And they were hoping it could depict the local Barkindji people. They think there's a lot of monuments around, the John Egg and the old Possum and Captain Sturt, but, for the local Barkindji people, something that might depict, their welcome to country here and the rivers and it's just out there for thoughts,
Yep.
that's all, so.
Certainly something I think a fair few of us have been keen on over the years, but we don't get far. We'll keep pushing. Councillor Beaumont.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'd just like to make mention of the Great Murray-Darling Junction Interpretive Facility Inc., which is a group that was established about 2016, although its actual origins go back further. A group that was established by Brian Grogan, OAM, and Steve Hedricks. And that group has been working away towards achieving a revitalised Junction Island walking trail, footbridge and platform. The group has got to a point now with the assistance of the Shire staff and particularly Craig Copley in that they've managed to amass a figure of around $1 million to get that project underway. So in the wisdom of the group, they've decided to wind up as a group, and Brian Grogan has tabled a letter which has been distributed this evening and sent to the General Manager, just outlining the process of winding up that particular group. I think acknowledgement has to go to Brian for the years of dedication and hard work that he's put into ensuring that there's some action to be undertaken down there, and he's been pivotal to the project, and full accolade must go to Brian in particular in relation to getting to this point. I will have more to say about that at our next meeting, but just wanted to pass on Brian's letter and make a brief comment at this stage.
Okay, so that will get circulated, the letter.
It's already in front of you.
Where? Right. Sorry, okay. Who's there? Very good. Yeah, and certainly endorse Councillor Beaumont's comments in relation to Brian's input into that project over those years. He's kept at it and done a fantastic job to the point where we've got those grant monies now, and great work. Okay, Councillor Linklater.
I'll donate my time to Councillor Rodder.
Councillor Rodder.
I'm going to surprise you, Mr Mayor, and just be quick. So just in regards to the destination management plan, could all councillors be provided with a copy, please? The other question I have is in regards to the New South Wales state government funding for tourism and promotion. We've got a budget, understand, of 250,000. Have we got a proposed schedule of how we're going to spend any of that money yet, Simon?
Yes, there is. Lexi has put together a list of events. Some of them I think have already been advertised on our Facebook page and our website up until I think the end of June, but there is also more events planned for at least the remainder of this year up until December anyway. But, I haven't gone into great detail with Lexi what's planned beyond that at this particular point in time. But
would we be able to have a report on that, please? And in regards to the publication of the newsletter, there was quite a bit of work done early on to encourage people to apply for to be on the email distribution list for the newsletter, but I haven't actually seen one for a while. Do we know when the last one was published, and is that something the media officer is continuing with?
Yes, he is. I just need to ascertain where the gap has been. But you're right, it has been quite some time. And we'll get back onto it.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. Councillor Nichols. Microphone, please.
Fair question here. First of all, is it possible for please, when you're compiling these reports that I'm looking, if you look at the pink, 65, 66, 67 and 68, you can't read it. It's too small, even with my glasses on. So if we want to get an idea of what we're doing, I don't know whether it comes out from the departments or whether it's done by whomever, but quite often the printing is too small. If we're going to give an accurate report on something, we need to know what we're talking about. Okay. Now, earlier I raised Arthur Street, Francis Street off Beverley and Adams and the holes that we have there. Could I please have, and they're telling me they're almost ready, could I please have a report on when these will be completed and the streets gone back to what they should be looking like, please, because they are in corners. Murray Street. Can I please have a full report on Murray Street at the next council meeting or soon after, because it's been dragging on now for months and years, and each time we seem to get nearly there, something else comes up, and I think we need to get, you're talking about housing and expanding the Shire. There's room down there for between 48 to 50 odd houses down there. We need to have them built. And the other thing, I know that for years, our staff are assessed on their what their work percentage is. Have our staff had yearly assessments done? When were they last done? Because the mayor usually sits in some, and there was none that I sat in when I was a mayor. And it's one of those things that their wages, the increments going through the various $10 each time you get going to the next increment. They need to be done, because I think our staff, if they're working and they're gaining experience in different things, we need to know that it's taken as part of the position. Don't tell me COVID, and please don't tell me floods. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So we'll have that followed up.
Yeah, just a point of clarification, the mayor only sits on general manager's appraisal and assessment. It's up to each individual team leader, supervisor or director to do the annual run, but it's necessary and it should be done. And that's part of what the HR unit sort of issues the appraisal form, so they should be all done. Yep.
Okay, so those things will get reported back to you. All right, we don't need to vote on that, do we? Righto, Councillor Linklater, would you like to take us into closed session?
Indeed. Move the recommendation that council adjourn into closed session and that the recording of the meeting be suspended and members of the press and public be excluded from the closed session, and that access to the correspondence and reports relating to the items considered during the course of the closed session be withheld unless declassified by separate resolution. This action is taken in accordance with Section 10A(2) of the Local Government Act 1993, as the items listed come within the following provisions: confidential. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconder for that, councillor Crisp. All in favour? Carried. Thank you, Simon. General Manager to report on those issues in the closed business.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. During the closed session of business tonight, Council considered two matters, the first one being the under-denominational Christians applying to become a regular user of the Midway Centre, and it was resolved that Council approved the recommended discount fee of $3,248 for a 13-month regular user agreement with the under-denominational Christian group. Second item, 12.2, was in relation to the River Road and Boyle Creek Road flood damage stabilisation works. It was resolved that Council, in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government General Regulation 2005, Council accepts the tender from Stableco to carry out the supply and delivery for contract PT 2223/13 in an amount of $269,495.60, including GST, and authorises the Mayor and the General Manager to sign the contract documentation to fix the Council's seal. That concluded tonight's closed section of Council.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, councillors, for your attendance. I'll now declare the meeting closed, and we shall see you all next Wednesday, is the advisory committee meeting, and that'll be on the waste. So thank you for your attendance.